Right. A recording has started. Oh, well, thanks for joining us, Lisa, anyway.
No problem.
We got here in the end.
Yeah, thanks for asking me.
No, that's all right. I saw a couple of weeks ago you did a live stream about your what was the topic of it? What did you title the last one as?
Communication for your marketing, I think it was. Something
Was it?
like along those lines. Yeah.
You got a lot of interaction and comments and stuff on it, even not just live, but like after people watched it afterwards.
Yeah, it's funny. I've had people email me. I've had people inbox me on Facebook. I've had comments afterwards, and then while the Facebook Live was happening, there was loads of people interacting and commenting and sharing it with people and things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really good, really nice. It's not really what I expected. I didn't sort of appreciate I'd get that much engagement from it. So yeah, I think that it's a good thing to do, and it's what people are maybe crying out for at the moment.
I think so. Yeah. So explain to people who don't know what is it you do at Acorn Marketing?
So I'm a freelance marketing consultant, and I generally work with businesses in Cumbria, but I've got a client up in Scotland. I've worked with people in sort of Cheshire, Merseyside way as well. And I'm sort of like almost like a marketing manager for businesses that can't or don't want to employ somebody full-time to do that position, but recognise that they do need help with marketing. So that's sort of where I slot in and can help different businesses.
That's good. How long have you been doing it?
Oh gosh, so I've worked in marketing for over 20 years now. Not that I'd really like to admit that, but I've been running Acorn Marketing for 9 years. Yeah, about 9 years and a week.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what was the birth of it? What got you started with it?
So, like I say, I've worked in marketing for a long time now, and I used to live down in Liverpool, and I was the marketing manager at the Beatles Museum.
Nice.
Dock, which brilliant job, loved it. Various reasons I moved on to another visitor attraction which was called Bug World. So it's like an insect zoo, working with a different type of beetle at that point.
Yeah.
But unfortunately I was only in the job 6 weeks because they decided to close it down and make everybody redundant.
Oh, no.
And it was 3 weeks before Christmas as well, so it was
harsh.
Yeah, nightmare time. And I was really, really angry because I'd left, like working for the Beatles Museum. It's not really a job you're going to get made redundant for. People have worked there for years and years and stay in the job. So I was really angry. I was like, I feel like you've coaxed me over to come and work here, and then you decided to close it down. You must have known that was going to happen, surely, before you brought me on board. But you know what? At the time, it was really horrible. And it's sort of like fate. It brought me back to Cumbria. I rang my mum and said, "Come and get me. I'm coming home for Christmas." And I didn't go back to Liverpool, and I love Liverpool. I really do. But I was just like, no, it's time for me to move back to Cumbria. And at that point, I was sort of like, what on earth am I going to do? And the level that I was at marketing at that time in my career, there was no jobs in Cumbria, and around Christmas, no one's really recruiting. And when people sort of get into a marketing manager job in a visitor attraction or a museum or whatever it is up here, they tend to stay in it. They stay in it for a long time. So there's not that many vacancies that came up. And I was just like, what am I going to do? But I'm not really one to sort of sit back and wait for things to happen. I was like, right, I need to take action now. I had a few weeks of moping around. I was like, right, come on, let's get onto it. And I wrote to various different businesses, and I heard back from Lowther Castle just when they sort of were starting and developing. And they said to me, like, wow, great CV. We'd really love to work with you, but we're not recruiting for that role, but possibly on a freelance basis. So I was like, oh, well, what's to say if an organisation like that would need somebody freelance? Other businesses would hopefully need somebody freelance. So it just gave me that idea and that sort of little light bulb moment. I thought, right, I'm gonna try and do this and see if we can see if I can do it for myself. And that was
How did you start? How did you know what to do at the beginning?
I didn't. And somebody told me like a year before, you're going to be running your own business. I'd have been like, sure. I don't know how to do that. So it was a case of I'd moved back with my parents, and my grandma's old flat was free. So literally all I had was an armchair and a laptop. Sat on this old armchair, just emailing people, and I think I did a little bit of work for a friend, just like data input and stuff. Wrote to loads of companies. I used to send out little packets of forget-me-not seeds with like little promotional things like remember me if you need anybody. And then there was two different things that sort of made me sorry.
That's all right.
I was working at home. The two things that were sort of pivotal in my business were there was a scheme for graduates with the University of Cumbria, where they would take people that had graduated and put them on a placement within an organisation. So I went and did an interview, and the business that I'd been paired with was Country Puddings. They're not around anymore, but they were a big pudding company. So I started working with them on a graduate sort of scheme. And at the end of it, it was like 12 weeks, and I'd done the project in a week because I was so experienced. And then they said, oh, do you just want to stay on and do our marketing? So that was the first client I had. And then the second one, there was a job going as a secretary for Penrith Chamber of Trade and Commerce. I was like, well, I may as well do that as something extra.
Yeah.
And again, it sort of really helped me because I got in there, I could show them what I could do, but they worked with loads of different businesses in Penrith. So it got me sort of out there networking with people, and just put me out there really. And they were the two sort of things that started my business really.
So that's where you cut your teeth and learned. You're taking notes and paying attention.
Yeah, and sort of just putting into practice everything that I'd learned throughout my career. And then all the business stuff, that's just come along naturally, doing your own accounts and things. And I didn't know where to start, or keeping timesheets, or how I work with clients and contracts, and how I work with other freelancers. It's all just been a big learning curve as I've gone along, really.
I think people, now these days, all that's online. You can do tutorials, courses, videos, everything. It's all on there, isn't it?
Yeah, you can find out literally anything you need to know. And because I'd never read a book about being in business, or I didn't study it at school or college. It wasn't something that really interested me. I just didn't really think that running a business was for me. But if I could go back and tell myself or young people, I'm definitely think about doing it. It's an option. I didn't even think it was an option when I was young. That I think there's more entrepreneurial young people now, but I just didn't think it was really for me at that time. But it's definitely something that all sorts of people can pick up really.
And then, but 9 years ago, how important was social media?
So it was funny actually, because I've been working in social media for 15 years now. When Facebook first came around, I was there all over it in my first marketing job. We need to use this. So when I moved back to Cumbria, I felt that it was quite a way behind the level of marketing that I'd been doing when I was in cities. But it was really important for me to get out there on social media as well, and just be everywhere, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and telling everybody what I was doing. So it has been really important for me. And I think I probably wouldn't look at social media and say I've got X clients from doing social media, but it's a lot of brand awareness and raising my profile and just telling people what I do, and people will go, oh, I've heard of you, and I go to networking and people will come up to me and be like, "Oh, you're that person off Twitter. You're Acorn Lisa." And so, it does have an impact. It does have a massive role to play.
Because that's what
in what I do.
you're doing. You're doing a live this Thursday, aren't you? About branding.
I am. Yeah, about branding. But somebody had come on to my last Facebook Live and said, "Oh, I'm a bit stuck with my branding. Is there anything you can suggest or I can do? And can you help us with it?" And one thing that I wanted to address with people, that they think it's just a logo. Oh, I need to create a brand. I need to get a logo, and they'll whip something up quickly. They'll maybe design something themselves or do something in Word or clip art, and it looks a bit naff. But it's really taking it back to basics and getting people to understand that a brand isn't just a logo. It's about your values as a business, your brand values, what makes you unique, the messages that you give out to people, how you portray your business online and professionally. It's all about that.
I mean, your logo helps. It can help, but it's not the be all and end all, is it?
It's like trying to get people to understand, to think about the business in a different way and put all these foundations down in place. Once they've got that and they understand what their business is about, then creating the logo from that, and it will resonate with the business so much more than just like plucking a
generic
logo out.
Yeah, like your logo that you see down there, like obviously an Acorn, like something that grows. It makes sense, and I think that's important with a logo. If it can be quite obvious, there's two ways. It can either be obvious what it is from a logo with a word, or something that's weird and abstract that makes people go, "Oh, what's that?"
What's that? Yeah,
both ways.
Yeah, and my branding, I've had the same. It's been Acorn Marketing since I started, but my branding has changed recently because as I've gone on through my business and how the business has evolved, I understand that people buy people, and quite a lot of times, I've subcontracted work, I've done work with other people, but they always want to work with me, and I don't know what it is. It's, I talk like this to everybody, whether they're a CEO of a big corporation or they're a one-man band. I have this way of just talking to people and explaining marketing to people so they don't feel overwhelmed by it. Well, I hope anyway. And so I've wanted that sort of personality to come across in my branding, and that's why I like the marketing of the logo is as if I've handwritten it.
Yeah.
And when you look at my website, the way that I've written it is like trying to really talk directly to people, not just this is what I do. This is.
And you're all over it.
I'm all over it. I know, which I was a bit like, oh, is it a bit cringy putting myself all over?
No, I think it's good. I think it's good.
It's me, it's who I am, it's what I do, it's my baby, it's my business. But it talks about rather than I will get you results and these are the sales and this is what I can do. It's more like this is how I'm going to help you, and I'm going to hold your hand through the process and try and make it easy for you. So that's what I really wanted to come across in my branding, because I've done all that work on my brand values and my ethos and who I am and what makes me different. And then it's reflected in my marketing, like my website or proposals and things that I do as well for people.
I think it's good to change it as you go along, as you learn things. Like you've got to start. You've got to start somewhere, and then because you can't improve what you can't improve what you don't start. So you've got to work at it and learn. Just learn as you go along.
Totally. And I had great compliments about my last website, and the website was fine. But this is definitely more me and more personal, and so hopefully with that Facebook Live that I'm going to do on Thursday, that I can get people to think a little bit differently about how they portray themselves, and online, offline, traditional marketing, digital marketing. But I do have a designer that I do a lot of work with as well. She's going to jump on as a guest.
Cool.
To talk about like the visual stuff and tips that people should be looking for, with colours, fonts, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, do you find that consistency is quite important as well?
Oh, definitely, yeah. And it's my pet hit. And like seeing different sizes of logos and different logos and the wrong like colour, like Pantone colours being used, and just inconsistency. It's a big like bugbear of mine. And,
Yeah,
yeah,
I've learned that as well. Because
yeah,
when I started, the logo that you can see up there, it used to be an amplifier with the word podcast written on it. Obviously, because that made it obviously there was a music podcast. But then,
yeah,
like now, obviously this last sort of year and a half, it's been 50-50 between music and anyone else, like actors, comedians, authors. So I wanted that.
yeah,
It's more like behind the noise of life now.
yeah,
Which,
yeah.
well, it was until this happened. Now it's behind the lockdown.
Oh,
So I had a
no.
studio where people would come to me, and that was part of the experience. And I didn't. I used to shy away from doing like this because it's good. I mean, I've got it better now because I've had to learn. I've been this situation has forced me to. I've basically brought the studio to my house, set it all up
Yeah.
because I have a producer who does all this technical stuff. So I just sit and talk. So I've had to
All right.
I've got like a mixing desk. I've got 2 monitors. I've got microphones. I've got lights.
Wow.
And I've had to like, how does he do that? Because I couldn't do all that and talk at the same time. So I'm having to like
Yeah,
multitask.
yeah.
But it's been good because I think when we go back to the studio, I still might do some of these.
Yeah, I suppose for people that maybe if there's somebody you wanted to interview that lived miles and miles
Yeah.
away or was so busy and couldn't do it, at least then you've got the option of doing this as well, haven't you?
Yeah, because I had a list of people who said, well, next time I'm in the north, I'll let you know and I'll come and see you. So obviously,
Yeah,
it's just a waiting game then. But now
yeah,
I've ended up getting this better than I thought I could. So I've just been thrown at the deep end, and that's what you're saying about like people doing their own business and branding stuff. At some point, you just got to do your research, but then just start. You've got to have a
just go
start
for it.
point.
Yeah, and after I'd been made redundant, I'd obviously been in the job 6 weeks. I didn't get any redundancy pay or anything, and so I was literally just thrown in at the deep end and just had to do it and make a living from it. And you know what? Since the day I started, it was the 1st of May, working for Country Puddings, I remember getting my first payment into the bank and be like, wow, this is amazing. This is like money that you make money, don't you, in your job? But I was like, this is hard graft money that I've made.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been a month yet where I've not been able to take money out of my business to pay myself, which
That's
is
good.
amazing.
That's an achievement right there.
Change in the next few months, I don't know.
Well,
Touch wood,
yeah.
it's all okay at the moment. We're
But
surviving.
it's like when you buy like your first album with your own money when you're like 15 or 16 or something.
Yeah,
It's a sense of
yeah,
achievement, isn't it?
it is totally. Yeah, yeah,
But I don't know. It's like all this social media, live streaming. That's kind of more important now. Like we're in lockdown, and I think people are sort of most people I think have got more time on their hands, so they should be using. This is what I've done. Use this time to sort of learn new stuff, learn aspects of it that you've maybe avoided because you haven't got time. I mean, now you've either got time or money. I think most people have got more time now than money. So you either spend money on something or you spend time. So I've been spending
yeah,
time.
yeah. No, that's good. That's good. I know. I don't have much time having a 4-year-old at home
Yeah.
and running a business. So like other extreme, my mum and dad are at home and my mum is bored out of her brain. And she's just like, if I could just help, like have April and take her for a bit to help you.
Yeah.
I'm so busy. Like my house is a tip just because
Yeah,
kids is just
you've got to keep the business going.
I've got to keep it going. But then like my husband, he's working from home and he's quite busy, so he needs the time. So I'm literally I just have to do it when I can. And this is my office. I work from home.
Yeah.
I've always worked from home. So that's no different. It's just having the little one at home and trying to sort of homeschool her, keep her entertained whilst answering to clients and doing email.
Now you come into time management, which is another very important skill for anyone doing a business.
Totally, yeah. Being organised, being efficient, time management, really important skills to have. So, I've always been lucky that I can, my business is flexible, that I can work it around having children and I can work in the evenings if I need to. I was working on Saturday for a bit, worked on Sunday for a bit. I can be flexible and do that. So my business in that sense hasn't really changed that much. And I am lucky that I can still keep working and do that. I've got everything set up that I need to have set
So
up
are you technically a teacher now as well then?
Yes, I
You can
am.
add that to your CV.
Yeah, we've been doing phonics and letter of the week.
Of course.
Yeah, a bit of craft. So yeah, I tend to do that during the day, and then it gets to about 3:30. Well, 3:30, and I've worn her out so much that I can put her in front of Netflix. Say, here, watch
Ah,
some
brilliant.
TV.
That's brilliant. Because
And then
years ago, you wouldn't have been able to do that. There was no
you couldn't.
Netflix
Oh
or
no.
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, she loves YouTube. So I get to a certain point where she's shattered and she just wants to chill out for a bit. I'm like, right, let mummy go and do some work. So then I can work till about 5 o'clock, and then I have to start making tea. But then, I can come back to my
Yeah, because
computer
you get
if
messages
I
on
need.
your phone and stuff, and you have access to emails all the time. I would imagine.
Yeah, and if something urgent comes through, she's quite good. I'm like, right, mummy just needs to quickly go and do this.
Yeah.
But at the moment it is quieter, and clients aren't really ringing me. They're doing their own thing, or they've been furloughed, or I have lost some contracts. So it's mainly social media stuff to keep on top of.
Yeah.
That is pretty much what is happening at the moment. It's all about social media.
What is most of your business? What's the main thing you help people do?
So, like I said before, it's sort of working with an organisation where I go in and I look after all their marketing. So, helping develop websites, write content for websites, organise photography, social media, online advertising, print advertising, creating promotional material, brochures, flyers, and putting strategies together. So quite often I'll go to a business, and pretty much all businesses are very scattergun in their approach and just do marketing as it comes up or as and when they need it. They don't have like a 12-month plan that they follow, that they don't know when they should be doing things. They just do it as it comes up. So I sort of go in and try and plan it for them. This is when you need to be doing e-newsletters. This is when you should be doing print advertising. This is what you should be doing online, and pretty much organise their whole marketing department, because generally they don't have a marketing team or anybody that has the skills or knowledge that can help them with that. So it really varies. So ideally, like, I'll work with a client on a retainer basis and I will look after everything for them. But then I have some clients that come up that say, I just need help doing a website and I don't really know where to start. So that would maybe be like a 3 or 4 month project where I would liaise with the web designers and put in a time plan of like how we're going to get the website done, write the content, source photography, make it technically work and make it right for them. Other people come to me and say, I'm looking to revamp my brand, how can you help? And then sometimes people just want help with social media. Some people maybe want some training. Or I've got one client, she's like, I just want somebody to look after my social media so I don't have to worry about it. And it's literally a box ticked for her. Somebody's doing it and I don't have to worry about it then.
So that you facilitate, you get somebody else to like work to do that for her, or you do it for her?
It varies. So where I've got a client where I work with them sort of on a long-term basis, where I'm doing all their marketing and where there's real strategic messages that go out, I would probably look after that social media. If it's a client where they just want general day-to-day posting information, then I've got a couple of girls that work with me, so I can outsource it to them, give them guidance on what to write in the plans, what we should be putting, what's going on with that client at the moment. Sometimes I'll write the plans and they post it and create the graphics. Sometimes they'll write the plans as well. So it sort of varies, and it's very bespoke. There we go, Amy, but obviously
for the audio listeners, you have to watch it on YouTube if you want to see this. I'm just pulling up your list of your people. So how many people is there all together work for you?
So there's Amy, who's sort of like my marketing assistant, and she would have come to the office once a week, once every couple of weeks, and she was sort of very much looking at social media and writing plans and posting for people. And Amy was very much wanted to get more experience in marketing, but couldn't get any marketing experience anywhere or a foot in the door. So I sort of helped her out and said, well, come and I'll show you how it works. And then there's Alison as well. And Alison, next one down on that moment. Alison, we went to
extraordinaire.
My blogging extraordinaire, yeah. We went to university together, so she's a very good friend of mine, and we had babies at a similar time. And we were out. She actually lives down in Chelmsford, And we all met up at Centre Parks once, and I said, oh, looked at all the people around the table, and I said, we make a great marketing agency. Anyone want to work with me? And Alison wasn't working at the time. She's like, I will. So Alison will help with social media scheduling and writing plans as well. And she'll write some blogs and things for me too. So that's Alison. And then Gilly runs her own business, Gilly Allen Creative, but she's my go-to design lady. And Gilly's the lady that's coming on my Facebook Live.
Right. Did she do the website?
Gilly designed my website. Gilly did all my branding.
It's very nice. It's very good.
She's really good, she's worked with some really high profile clients before, Baroness Moan, Michelle Moan, Ultimo. She's worked with Story Homes. She's got some really good clients, and she's just super, super creative. And literally any brief that I write her, it's like she gets in my head and she just gets it. She's brilliant.
I've worked with people like that before, and you think, you expect it to go on for ages, where you keep having to go, no, this, and then, but also this, but you just tell them like once, and they just do it.
They just do it, and they just get it. And I do work with other designers as well, who are all brilliant. But
she's
Gilly,
the go-to one.
Yeah, the
website is a prime example because it's like simple. I think a lot of people try to overcomplicate things when they design, especially if they're just starting out. They do too much at once. So I think simple's better when you're trying to make a point.
Yeah, and we built up such a good relationship now that I can write her a brief and know exactly what information that she needs from me, and then she just interprets it really well. So yeah, we've got a good way of working.
Photographer.
And then there we've got Chris. Chris is actually my cousin, but he's a fantastic photographer. And again, if I need a photographer, Chris is always my first port of call.
Photos are very important.
Sorry?
Photos are very important.
Yeah, they are. And he took my photographs on my website as well. And
that's good. They're good.
He filmed the video on my website too. He's just really versatile. And I found with different clients, I'm like, do you fancy having a go at this? Can you try and do this? And again, he always produces the goods, whether it's he's fantastic at product shots and stills and making like little mini clips for social media and things. So he's a really good too. So they're like my little, I feel like you have to have a little tribe, a little support network of people that that you can ring up if you've got somebody that needs a particular project, or somebody that like I deliver a certain type of service that I get results. I deliver. I have a certain way of working. I'm very efficient, and it just frustrates me when I start working with somebody and they're not like that, and they don't produce what I need them to. So I know that trusted bunch of people work the way that I like my business to run.
You need a support network. You can't do it all on your own, can you?
Yeah. So yeah, that's my little tribe of people, and there's loads of other people that I work with as well.
Yeah,
but they're sort of my ones that I use consistently.
Have you got any particular stories or customers that you always think of, like you're really proud of? Like, I helped that person. I'm really proud of that.
Oh, actually, there's one that a project that I'm working on at the moment that I just said to my husband this morning. I was looking at the stats on social media, and social media is such a funny thing, and sometimes it works great and sometimes it's not so brilliant. And it depends sometimes what the client puts into it. Like if a client just expects me to churn out content that doesn't relate to the business, they're not going to see great things from social media. And some people are quite happy that they're like, as long as I've got a presence, I'm fine. But this client that I'm working with at the moment, they're called Crofton Plants, and he came to me just as we were starting lockdown, and he was like, he supplies plants to the hospitality industry, pubs, hotels, restaurants. He's like, it's just disappeared. They don't want hanging baskets and plants this summer. Like, it's just fallen away. So he's like, I want to put a post on Facebook. Can you help me? I was like, yeah, I can put a post on Facebook for you. But I looked at his Facebook page. He only had 8 followers. And I was like, oh, well, even if I put something on your Facebook page, it's not really gonna do anything. So I came up with this little strategy. I was like, let's do some Facebook advertising, and then we'll do some posts on your social media page, and we'll build it up that way. And literally, like, I couldn't believe it. It was about 5 days. He went from 8 followers to over 1,000.
Wow.
He'd had 150 messages of people wanting to place orders. And he was like, it's gone crazy. I can't go.
That's cool.
And when I looked at his stats earlier on, and normally I would see clients that would get sort of between 100 and maybe 500 likes, shares and comments per post. He's getting generally between 1,000 and 2,000 comments per post, which is amazing.
Why do you think that was?
I think it's because at the moment he's diversified a bit in his business. He doesn't normally deal with the public, but he said, right, while people are in lockdown, he'll supply plants to people and he'll deliver them. So if you want your bedding plants, give him a call and he'll deliver them. So I think at the moment it's something that people want. People are out in the gardens, the weather's been nice, and they want something to do. Can't really pop out to the shops, can't get to B&Q. So they're like, right, we'll call this fella and he'll bring the plants to our house. So I think that is the key thing. And it's free delivery. There's a minimum order. He delivers sort of within a 30-mile radius, and people have just really latched onto that. And so what I'm sharing on his social media page isn't sort of anything different necessarily than what I would do for other clients, but I think it's just what people need now. And on his website, he literally turned it around in a weekend, got his website designer to make it into a online shop so people could place orders online. And I think by him doing that, by what we've done on social media, has really, it's just when his business could have just flopped and he could have just sat there and done nothing, by using that bit of initiative, giving me a call, and what we've done has kept his business going, and he's just not been able to keep up with demand, which is absolutely
That's the best problem to have, isn't it?
Yeah, and I look at the stats and I'm just like gobsmacked by them. So that's definitely at the moment the one that I look on every day and I go, wow, this is amazing.
It's a great story. It's cool.
Yeah,
That's why you do. That's why you do what you do.
It is, yeah, because he could have literally just put a post on his Facebook and said, we can deliver plants, and it would have been seen maybe by a handful of those 8 people, and it would have done nothing. But just by,
or we could have thrown in the towel.
Yeah, we've not spent much money. £200 he spent on adverts and a bit of money on my time. And it's just, I love looking at the stats and all the
£200 to get you to a point where you can't cope with demand. It doesn't seem that bad, does it?
Yeah, and I thought that the messages were coming through so quick, and he's like, I can't cope with this. I don't usually use social media, so I've had to try and teach him how to use it a bit more.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't believe the rate of messages, so I just had to count them up and work out. And there was 150 messages in 5 days. I was like, This is ridiculous. And everybody was consistently placing orders of £30 or more. He's like, I'm getting orders for £200 for some of them.
Wow.
So yeah, amazing. At the moment, that's been a real sort of great example of sort of pivoting your business, doing things differently, and using social media.
Well, I think it's a good story about how important social media is, because I think some people, some older people, I suppose, maybe who are in business, maybe have a struggle to just adjust to this new way of this new platform to operate in. It's not person to person as much anymore.
Yeah, totally.
They might get overwhelmed by it all.
Yeah, and I think he just probably wouldn't have known what to really do if I hadn't have been able to help him. So that, that makes me feel really good, and obviously just a little bit of knowledge from my part of how I could guide him and help him has really helped his business. So hopefully he'll stay on it was only going to be for April, but now he wants to keep going, so I'm working with him through May. It might continue, which would be lovely.
So what are the main social media platforms that you recommend people use for business?
So it really varies. I would say it's different for every business. So generally, when you work business to business, say like myself, the main platforms that you should use would be Twitter and LinkedIn. However, I found at this period, like I would normally use Twitter and LinkedIn a bit more, but during this period, I recognised that people are sort of sat at home. Maybe if they do run a business, but they're on Facebook and Instagram a bit more. So I found that my engagement has really, really gone up on Instagram and Facebook more than Twitter and LinkedIn. Probably more LinkedIn than Twitter at the moment. If people are B2C, so sort of customer facing, Facebook and Instagram are definitely the way to go. But what I always say to people is it's better to focus on one social media platform that they enjoy doing, where they know that their customer hangs out, rather than trying to be across every social media platform. I am, because I work in marketing, and I need to understand how all these different platforms work for my clients. So that's why I'm sort of on all of them. But like for my plant man, I was like, there is no point, if you don't use social media, there is no point you trying to be on other social media platforms at the moment. Like plants and flowers can lend themselves really well to Instagram, but there's no point us going on that because you're never going to look at it. So we just focus on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he's at the point where he can hardly cope with demand, he doesn't really need to do any of that yet, does he?
I don't worry about the other ones yet. And, if you know that your customer is there, then that's the place that you need to focus on. It'd be no good if you, I have another client that does wedding flowers. It'd be no good her trying to build her brand or a business on LinkedIn because brides won't really be looking at that platform. She could just forget about that. She doesn't need to worry about it. So it's better to focus on one or two platforms and do them really, really well and pay all your attention to them than spreading yourself too thinly and putting messages out that aren't really appropriate for all the different types of social media.
It is a bit of trial and error, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, and like I've really been trying to do a bit more on Instagram recently to grow my following on there, because I felt like on Facebook it was more like it was my mum and my auntie that kept commenting on things. I was like, well, they're not my audience.
You need to reach your target audience, don't you?
Yeah, but I have found that during lockdown, more businesses have been communicating with me through Facebook, and I found that on Instagram it's more other people in the industry, so other marketing people, other social media managers from all over the country that have been engaging with me, and other designers and that kind of thing. So that's where it's been happening, and people talking more about business to me on Instagram. On Facebook, it's more people asking me questions, and I think because of the Facebook Lives, that's
real interaction, isn't it?
Yeah, people have really, like I had one woman that sent me a message. She's had a problem with her Facebook page, and she's like, I'm having this problem, but you popped into my mind. So she sent me a message, right? So I'm like, well, I've never heard of her. I didn't know. I think they were from Berwick or somewhere, Berwick upon Tweed. And I was like, right. So it just shows, how the reach can, if people do need help, then hopefully, like later on, they might think, right, we remember Acorn Marketing, because nobody else, I don't think, locally, other marketing people or other people that I know are sort of doing that or offering that help and advice to people. And I think people are crying out for that, really, from what I've been able to see from businesses anyway.
Well, I caught like the last 10 minutes of that one you did, and I just thought, well, this woman's making sense. Talking sense. And people were asking you questions and you answering directly. And I think that's quite important to have direct access to your customers. I think all businesses should be looking at that, and social media is probably the only way you're really going to get that these days.
Yeah, definitely. And it might be that I don't ever work with some of these people. They might be really small businesses that can't afford to work with a marketing manager long term, full time. But I just feel like during this time, if there's, businesses are really struggling, and if there's something that I can do to give them a bit of advice or a little bit of help or answer some questions, then I feel like I'm doing something to help. And they don't need to pay hundreds of pounds to keep me on a retainer each month. But just by offering that to help people out, and if I can make a difference to one business, then, that's great. Or even if you come back to me and want some training or some more advice, then, that's great. But if I can just use the skills and the knowledge I've got at the moment to try and give businesses a little bit of guidance when they're struggling or they just don't know which direction to take, then I feel like I'm doing something.
Well, going back to branding, I think like being unique or being yourself, because there's only one of you, so you should try and be yourself, I think, rather than try and copy what other people are doing. Or like when people compare themselves to like well-established brands or companies, I just think, well, you're obviously not going to get what you want because you're compared to someone who's way further down than you are.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's when I first started my business, there weren't that many freelance marketing people around. There's like old school marketing ladies who I have so much respect for that have worked in marketing for years before like digital and social media came about. And then more and more people are now coming about, and you see more people popping up, and they come and go. There's a lot that do appear and go, I'm a marketing consultant, I'm a marketing expert, and then disappear again. There's lots of social media people that come up again, have done a bit of social media, all of a sudden they're an expert. But
yeah, you get a lot of that in podcasts as well.
Yeah, but I don't let it worry me. I pay notice to what people do because it interests me, it fascinates me to see like what people are doing, but I never let it sort of threaten, what I'm doing, oh gosh, a new competitor. I like to work with people and collaborate, and I work with a lot of other marketing people, and we help each other out and do projects together, because at the end of the day, like you say, I offer different services and I have a different style. It might not suit everybody, but the people that I do work with really appreciate what I do for them and can see results from it. Somebody else might not like that. There's room for lots of us. So I never let it worry me what competitors do. I look at what they're doing, I take note of what they're doing, but I don't let it worry me because what I do is different. So yeah, I think it's with the branding as well. It's trying to emphasize that to people that everybody is unique and can offer something different.
Yeah, I was reading something the other day about, funnily enough, about how a lot of iconic, successful people always, things like who was the example I used? Oh, Steve Jobs of Apple. He always wore the same clothes, same like black jumper and black pants with his glasses. Whenever he did like a on stage talk or something like that. So people just got used to that. He, in himself, that was his brand, just himself.
Yeah,
and that's what Apple started obviously with Apple computers, the word and like the 3 colours with an apple. Now it's just an apple. You don't even need the word. You know what it is. And like over the years, lots of brands have taken the words away, simplified it, just make it smaller, just because they've just been around that long. They've built a customer base. They just know what it is.
Yeah, it becomes iconic.
Yeah, but it's like, I think people, you don't have to think that far ahead, but people can just start off simple. And you've got to have a starting place and just gradually work at it. And like you say, look what other people are doing. But if they're doing better than you, then don't feel bad about it. Just that should inspire you.
Exactly, yeah. And, I see other people doing things. I'm like, oh, that's such a good idea. Or, yeah, that's really cool. Or, there was, when I did my last Facebook Live, there was a couple of other, like, people, I would say our industry sort of crossover, they hopped on, and I asked their opinion. I was like, oh, come on, what do you think about this? And because good. It is, we all have different ways of working and different opinions about things and different things that we understand. So it's good to share that knowledge, but we're all different and we all have different ways of working. So, but yeah, it's trying to say to those people that come on the Facebook Live on Thursday, what is it that makes you different from everybody else, and that is what you come across in your brand, and that's what I try and do for a lot of my clients. Try and just be a little bit different from other people that are out there.
Yeah, it's like, it's also like have a think before you start with anything. Like, who are you, what you're doing, what you're trying to say, what is your message, what do you do? But have a think about things like that before you start most things.
Yeah, and it is, any business starting or thinking about their marketing should know this stuff. They should know what makes you unique, what are your key messages, who is your target customer, who's your ideal client, what are these things? And if somebody says to me, oh, I don't really know, or everybody, I'm like, no, you need to think about these things first. It should be like the core. It's what underpins your business. So the people really need to think about that first before they start wanting to create a website or create a logo, because 9 times out of 10 they will have to change it 6 months, a couple of years down the line. Who knows? It isn't right, and it doesn't represent their business correctly.
Yeah, you get it a lot in podcasting as well, which I've been doing for over 3 years now. But people, they want to start a podcast, but they don't really know why. They don't know what they want to do. They just want to start a podcast. And think, we're starting a new podcast. Like we're about everything. Like no one's searching for everything. Everyone's searching for something. So you should be about something. Maybe like I did, start with something like music, and then diversify it along the way. If that's what feels right.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But, businesses do you go through that process of changing and growing and diversifying if needs be, or niching down even.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people try and go for bigger audiences where if you're really niche something specific, you could find a small audience, but one that you could have 1,000 dedicated customers that could keep you could prosper with that. Yeah,
definitely. And there's a big thing about how many followers and how many likes can I get on social media, and it's not always about that. It's about having that quality audience and people that are going to interact and engage with you. There's been a big thing about lots of people have been posting on Facebook about get your friends to like this page and share it with your communities, and I don't know if you've seen things like that, but the people that are liking that page then aren't necessarily going to be
people not genuine. They're pointless, really, aren't they?
Yeah. So unless they're actually interested in what you're doing, then it's not worth having them as followers, really.
That's why sometimes I sort of bypass how many likes they've got and just look at what's their product, what's their content.
Yeah,
definitely. That way, because we get it a lot in podcasting forums where people come and go, "Hey, let's do like for like. Everyone put a link to your show. I'll give it a like, and then you give mine a like." But then they're not real customers, are they? They're just useless. You're just bumping up your numbers. I don't like
stuff
like that. Just focus on having a good product, and the rest should take care of itself.
Exactly. Yeah, and and it's like I say, you don't need hundreds of followers. Generally, I tend to like to work with people in Cumbria and really in a 30-mile radius because it's just easier.
Yeah.
And I like people face to face and go to meetings and meet up and network and that kind of thing. So even though I've got like people that follow me from America and stuff, it's more for
just interaction, isn't it?
Marketing, yeah. So I've got more followers on Twitter, but I don't know who half of them are. Whereas actually, I get to know my audience on Facebook and Instagram, and it's growing. But the people that are interacting with me are building up more relationship with them, and it's like I said before, it's about their building my online community and tribe of people that are going to share what I do, embrace what I do, listen to the advice that I give, and then tell other people about it. I'm not bothered about having millions of followers and things.
So have you noticed much changes business-wise since lockdown started?
For my business?
Yeah, and just in general?
Yeah, I think...
Have you ever had an office, or you always just work from home?
Always just work from home, and I have toyed with getting an office a few times. Since before my little girl was born, she was born in 2015, I did think, maybe I should get an office and I could get people coming to work with me. Since she was born, it's just easier to be at home, so I can be flexible and be here if I need to. So, and cheaper, and at the moment, it works out well, and I've got space. Like I've got a big long desk, so the space for my husband to work too, so we're not in the kitchen or getting in each other's way. But I would say when lockdown first hit, I think everybody sort of went, ah! And I had one of my biggest clients pulled contract. They were a on a monthly retainer, and I've worked with them for like 5 years now, and I was gutted. Obviously understandable why that happened, but at the time it was like, oh my god. Another, probably my second biggest client, they've all been furloughed. So like, we can't really do any marketing at the moment. We've got nothing to market, but just keep our social media ticking along, but it's not loads. I had another client who is a massive FTSE 250 company, the one up in Glasgow, and they've just said, you've supported us over the year, we'll support you. They haven't got any work to do, but they're still paying me on a retainer, which is lovely.
It's very kind of them, yeah.
But they know that they could ring me like this afternoon and go, we need this, and I would do it for them. That's why
really, that's what they're paying for, that kind of level of
exactly.
there 24/7 support.
Yeah, if they didn't pay me a retainer and they rang me like, oh, can you do this by Friday? I'd be like, yeah, well, I can't really, because I've got other clients.
Yeah, who are paying. Yeah.
And then I've had others, like completely new ones, like the plants, Crofton plants. They've upped things. I have a guy that sells sofas, North Lake sofas. They've upped things, and he's been selling more sofas. I have a lady that's invested a bit more. She's Ubarrow Flower Farm, so she's a flower farmer. Again, we've done loads of work on her branding. That's quite a good one to look at for branding. And she's put in a bit of time and effort into social media and Facebook advertising, so she's upped things. And then another client I work with is called Kind Cumbria, and that's a really lovely project, and that is all about being kind to people and random acts of kindness, and trying to encourage people to be more neighbourly, to reduce social isolation and loneliness. And I've been working with them on the project for about a year, and we did a lovely project in November, the very first Kind Cumbria Day, where we encourage people to do random acts of kindness. It was brilliant. It was such a fantastic day. And then it sort of died off a little bit because they didn't have much funding. But then with everything that's come about, they're like, we need to find money to put into this. So they've upped their social media again. So we're doing more. So there's more interaction, engagement on there now as well, with basically saying to people, even though you're in lockdown, there are kind things that you can still do for people, for your neighbours. Even just getting on a Skype call, or ringing somebody, or sending somebody a letter. So it's been a bit of a mixed bag, really. Some people have like totally gone and died off, and then others, where I've seen improvements, are people that have really put time, effort and money into building their online presence, digital marketing, developing the website, more social media, Facebook advertising. Those are the companies, the businesses that are thriving and doing more.
This is the time to do it.
It's the time to do it. So
more people are online. Everyone's online now because a lot of people have got time on their hands.
Exactly, yeah. So my business has been, yes, I've lost a couple of clients, but I have got some new ones on board, and I have potentially got another couple of quite big clients coming on board as well that want things, or people that have said to me, can't right now, but when lockdown's finished, we know what's happening, then yeah, we do want to work with you. So I'm not like, I haven't had to furlough myself because I'm a limited company as well, so I don't get any government grants, or I don't get any help unless I furlough myself if I'm ill or can't work. Well, I'm not ill and I can still work. But my turnover, probably will be affected, but
so will everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still able to keep working. And I spoke to my accountant the other week, and she's like, it's amazing that you're still bringing money in. So I feel quite thankful that despite what's happening and the struggles and being in lockdown and having to be a mum, a teacher, a wife, a cleaner, a cook, and a businesswoman, that I'm still managing to juggle it all and bring in money and still keep paying myself some money as well. So I feel really thankful for that. And I'm a genuine believer that if you think positive that positive things will happen. And I think if I'd just, like when I was made redundant, if I'd just sat and cried in a corner, you know, I probably wouldn't be doing what I am today. And like now, if I let it get to me and think, oh my God, my business is going to die, it probably would. But because I keep going and I keep doing stuff, and I'm trying to stay positive, then, you know, hopefully I'll come out of this stronger and who knows, with more money, hopefully. That would be good, wouldn't it?
More money, more customers.
Yeah. But, you know, I'm trying to take the time as well, the time that I do have, to listen to podcasts and read business books and spend more time on my social media doing the Facebook Lives. I've even started learning to play the guitar. There you go.
Wow. Impressive. Well, you've got to use this rare, because it's like we'll probably never experience anything like this ever again. You've got time. Work out a schedule to learn something new. Yeah,
I'm like, why not? A little, I don't know where I saw it. It was on probably an online advert or something.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I say that to people on social media. If you can't work now, you should be using the time to build your knowledge, learn new skills, do new things. So I was like, right, what can I do that's new? I feel like I want to learn something new apart from all the stuff in my business. And I've had a guitar in my garage for about 8 or 9 years probably, and I've never touched it, and I've always wanted to play guitar. So I was like, right, I'm going to teach myself.
Good on you.
Yeah, I used to be quite musical when I was younger, so I'm like, what's to say that I can't do it? So my husband, though, is a bit, you know, like putting his hands in his ears at the moment.
Just takes practice. It's like, again, it's one of those things where you have to have time to do it.
Yeah, so I've been like, just like while I've got the tea in the oven and stuff, just quickly get the guitar, and I'm like, even if I'm just practicing a little bit, it's something, isn't it?
The things I've noticed difference, like for the podcast, is since lockdown the downloads have gone down, but social media's gone up, way up.
All right,
I've always had a disconnect between, I put out the podcast, I get a lot of downloads, but they're not people who are on my social media. So there's just a type of person who listens to podcasts. They've subscribed. They listen. They don't need to go on my social media to know when I've put an episode, because they're subscribed. Their phone just goes, this podcast got a new episode, download it. So then that's kind of dropped because no one's driving, no one's going anywhere. So like for me, I don't listen to half as many podcasts as I used to because I drive a lot. But now I'm not. So my listening's gone down. So I reflect my average listener, I suppose. But I've been doing a lot more stuff like this. I've been doing Facebook Lives. I've been broadcasting. So I've been putting out some of my older episodes because I've got a huge back catalogue now, and I've been doing things on social media. So that's kind of helped me get that up as well. So but it wasn't until this happened that I sort of even thought about that.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it? It's amazing, like how you can make like different like correlations to things that happen in towards your social media or things that happen online, and like you say with your downloads or your subscribers and things.
There's a lot to be learned in this situation. It's a bad situation, but hopefully a lot of us will be able to take some positives out of it, business-wise, personal-wise. Like, I don't know, talking to your neighbours more, because you haven't been.
Yeah, do you know, and you do, like, everybody has bad days, and I had a lady comment on a post this morning, she's like, can't expect everybody to be positive all the time, and it's like, well, no, you can't, and I'm not positive all the time, and there's days that are hard, there's weeks that are hard, but you know, we're listening to the speech last night, and I was thinking, I hope he sort of doesn't say let's all come out of lockdown, because there's still things I'm going to do. I'm like, you know, it is really, really hard, but I do quite like being in my little bubble with my family and just not having the rush of every day and the rat race and getting ready for things, and I've got to be here and I've got to do this. I quite like the more chilled out pace of life.
But you've still got your own routine at home though, especially with like you've got kids, and like I would hate to not have a routine even in lockdown, because it'd be quite easy to just slip off into the abyss and just I've got nothing to do. So and I think that's an important lesson for people, to try and like still be motivated even though you haven't got like your normal responsibilities. Don't just do nothing.
Yeah, I know we're totally like that. Like I've had to write a little schedule for my little girl because she loves going to preschool, and they've given us loads of work, which is really good. But I have a schedule of things we do every day. Even like she wants to know on the schedule what she's having for breakfast and her lunch and her tea, and we follow it. And if we
That's a good
don't
sign.
follow
That's a
it,
good sign.
yeah, she's like, "Mummy, we've not done any schoolwork today." I'm like, "Oh, sorry."
That's a
So
rare
she
child
loves.
you've got there.
Oh, I know. Oh God, tell me, she is one of a kind. And but then it feels like a weekend is a weekend, even though
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still do have to do some work sometimes to catch up. But then on the other hand, like I'm so busy. Whereas, like I said before, my mum is so bored, and she's like, I just don't have a purpose to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm so bored. And like she started crocheting little rainbows, and she's been getting orders from people. She works at Centre Park, and like the nurses or people in HR have been messaging it, can you make me a rainbow? So she's been doing that. But she's like, oh, I've got some letters to post. I'll walk to the post box. It's not like a thing to do. And I need a new hobby, mum. You need to find something to do. And like my dad's the same. He's bored, and I would for the people that haven't got anything to do, they must all be going nuts because it's hard when like I'm busy and it's hard to keep going and feel motivated sometimes. But if I had nothing to do, I'd be going crazy. But on the Kind Cumbria social media, that's a big focus in May is it's Mental Health Awareness Week, starting on the 18th of May. So we've been sharing lots of information and advice for people that are in lockdown that might be living on their own or might be isolated from people, and ways to help your mental health or to help other people. So that's really nice.
Good.
It's a nice project to be involved in.
So have you had to move anything? Have you had to cancel anything for this year?
Oh my God, yeah, so much. Oh, so much. I'm really sad. Weeks ago. So literally, like everything that I've planned I had so much planned. I was getting a bit overwhelmed with all the dates and plans that I had. So my husband had arranged for me to sing in a band.
Right.
That was being cancelled. Oh, thanks. I'd got tickets to 2 West End shows, so 2 trips to London. That's been cancelled. This Thursday I was meant to be going to Portugal on a girl. So that's been cancelled. The end of June I'm meant to be going to Mallorca, but I think that and another girls' trip, that's probably going to be cancelled. And then my main present for turning 40 is a trip to Mexico in August. So that's probably going to be cancelled too. Like once in a lifetime holiday.
Will you get to do that at some point?
I hope so. It all just depends really on what the government announce and lockdown and procedures and things. And, again, trying to be positive and thinking, well, maybe we might get to go in August. But if we have to come back and be in quarantine for 2 weeks, that's not ideal when my little girl will be starting school and my stepdaughter needs to go back to school. Me and my husband will need to work. So maybe we could do something, like maybe October, November time. But again, you don't know, do you? If that can't happen, we might have to wait till next year. So I feel like all my plans for turning 40 to try and make it better, it just went out the window, really.
I think 2021 is going to be a damn busy year. Everything's getting put next year. Everything. Plus everything that would happen in 2021. Plus everything that's been moved from 2020. Every band's onto it. Every comedian, every play, every show, every movie is coming out next year.
Yeah,
every sporting event.
Yeah,
we're overwhelmed.
Yeah, and that's one thing I haven't missed though, the sport on the telly, because my husband is obsessed with like literally every sport that's going. So the fact that we've not got Sky Sports at the moment is bliss. It's great.
I am missing the football. That's the only thing I miss. It's boring.
Yeah,
weekends without football, just not right.
Not the same.
If they can just do that, even behind closed doors, and put it on the TV, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I think he would. He'd be the same.
I don't know if they can. I tell you who the busiest person in the world at the moment is. Martin Lewis. Have you seen him?
I know,
It's like he's got to know about everything.
He has, literally everything, isn't it?
I've seen him do the live shows from his house.
I've seen a few live videos that he's done, yeah, like for businesses and things.
But he's like set up an actual studio at his house.
Oh, has
He's got TV screens. He's got like 3 cameras. So obviously, someone must have come around and helped him set it up. But so he's doing it all the whole broadcast from home. So pretty cool.
Wow!
But like he's just 100 miles an hour the whole time, and he's got his fingers in every kind of business pie, all sorts of advice.
Yeah, he has to know everything, doesn't he? From shops to holidays to businesses to just everything.
Yeah. And we're all Zoom experts now, aren't we?
Oh yes.
No one even heard of Zoom like 3 months ago.
And literally my birthday week, I think I was on Zoom every night having quizzes, games, the virtual disco. We have a family quiz every Wednesday and every Saturday. I had to do one for my little girl yesterday because she misses out on them. So we had like a Disney themed quiz yesterday.
Yeah, I had a quiz yesterday. You can share your screen and like put questions up and stuff. It's good.
Yeah,
I hope people continue to do this after lockdown's been lifted.
I think I've been doing a few with my university friends, and like we live, down from Brighton. I'm probably the furthest north. We live all over the country, so quite often we don't get to see each other. Maybe once a year or every 2 years, and we've all been speaking to each other more, which is lovely. So I really do hope that we continue.
Yeah.
Like once let's have a Zoom call and we'll think of something different to do. And I think that things like that you could take away that people will still carry on doing after lockdown.
Like I've been driving through town and I've seen neighbours pulling chairs out, obviously opposite ends of the garden, but like you never would have saw that before, and they're having a great time. It's like, well, why not come and just do that all the time?
Yeah, it's like street parties. And on VE Day, we our neighbours sat on one side of the drive and we sat on our drive, and they've made a little buffet and brought it out in the middle and take our turns to go to the table and get some food, and it was just lovely. And like even they said it was the best Friday we've had the best day we've had in lockdown so far, because coming out and interacting with people. And more restaurants doing deliveries. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, I've seen like chip shops bringing vans. Doing deliveries, this is amazing. They should, like in the summer, they should just do it all the time anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Like the ice cream man coming round, they should bring the
first the ice cream man, then the chip shop, then your local pizza place.
And so like on my birthday, we had a lovely meal, and I'd made a birthday cake as well. But local restaurant bought us like 2 courses, and it was great. I think I had like this braised beef thing. I'm like, oh yeah, I could get used to this kind of takeaway. So I hope more people do that. And do you know what? I think more restaurants could do that locally. But there's only like a handful of people that are doing it. So I think a few people have missed a trick, which as doing marketing I find quite frustrating. When I see that there's opportunities that business could do. And then they're not doing it. Yeah, I think you must be fine then and have enough money that you don't need to do these kind of things.
We'll find out later when they like got a business after we open up again.
I've
noticed even like 2 weeks into lockdown, there was adverts on TV that were playing on the whole situation. I was like, oh, they're on the ball there, aren't they?
Yeah, quick. Yeah, I had a Zoom call with a lady that does like video and adverts and things for people, and she said, literally as soon as lockdown happened, she had a client pulled an advert because they wanted to make one specifically about lockdown. She said she turned it around in 6 hours or something, and then it was on air like 2 days later.
That is on the ball. That is.
Yeah, and then while I was talking to her husband was in a different room, and he was broadcasting CBBS, and they had a presenter that was at home, and he was like doing an online. He was filming. He was then broadcasting it or something. I was like, wow, that's nuts. So it's amazing how people have embraced it.
Celebrities as well. I've noticed all celebrities go live on Instagram or Facebook now, like who never used to do it before. And I think they've realised, they're probably going to realise now, I should be doing this all the time. Like, what better like interaction with your fans can you get than that? It's great for the fans.
exactly. Oh yeah, definitely. And loads of people have been doing like online workouts and
Yeah.
like there's just so much stuff that you can find. Really, you
And I've
could keep
noticed,
busy all
yeah, and I've noticed like even big brands have started going live. Who did I see? Someone in the, how was it? PRS and Centric, all these big, royalty music companies have been going live and doing Q&As, stuff they've never done before. I mean, they have like a document on their website that says that, but for someone from the company to go live and ask questions and like this, I hope they carry on doing stuff like all the time because it's great for their customers.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what people are doing. And like lots of diversity as well, people doing different things, which is good. And, like I think with my Facebook Lives, I'll probably keep them going as well because
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think it's probably the best thing that I've done. I really found Instagram stories works well for my business. I get a lot of engagement in that.
Yeah.
And I get some really nice comments. But the Facebook Lives, it's just not something I've done before. I'm like, I don't have time to do it, but I think I'll make a conscious effort to make time to do it.
You should have a podcast as well.
Well, I'm part of like an online marketing community called Atomic.
Yeah.
It's run by two guys called Andrew and Pete. I don't know if you've seen them, and they've got loads of videos and things about how to do a podcast, and like that's how I sort of came by the idea of doing the Facebook Live and how to manage it a bit better. So yeah, I might have to look at the podcast one.
Because lots of things you do, like the like your audio of you talking to your last Facebook Live, you could easily just put that out as a podcast. Simple.
Yeah. There you go. I have downloaded it. I have downloaded the video. I'm like, what do I do with this now? I need to do something else with it.
So like every time when you write a blog or you put. I've noticed you put a lot of posts up about like getting people thinking or asking questions and stuff. They work as podcasts as well. Things like that. It's just audio. A podcast is just audio. You don't need video or anything. You just need a good mic. That's all you need.
Yeah. I don't need to worry about doing my makeup or anything.
No. Because you've already got the content there, all the stuff that you know. Like anytime someone's like looking to do something new, there's already a podcast about it. Someone documented their journey, or you can find out. And you've already got all the content, all the stuff that you've already done. You can just put that out as a podcast, easy.
Yeah. No, I haven't thought about it before. Might have to look into it.
Because I think people listen to podcasts are like a different breed to, like I said, there is a disconnect from social media. There's just your podcast listeners, they're always searching and looking for new audio content. They're not bothered about video. They just listen to podcasts. Yeah. I am one of those.
Things. Yeah. I must admit, I've definitely started listening to more podcasts rather than watching videos on YouTube, because I find you have to sit and you have to watch it, whereas a podcast you can
do other things.
You can just I've been listening to them when I go out on my daily walks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I sometimes feel like at the end of the day, when my brain's going to explode, I don't want to listen to anything to do with marketing and talking. But sometimes, actually, I'm like, I feel like I need to learn something I do understand more. So there are a few marketing podcasts that I've been listening to.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. There's podcasts about everything now.
There is, isn't there? Oh, also.
It's the same. It's like the audio version of YouTube, really. Anything you can search for, you'll find something on it. Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
It can be as niche or it can be as general. It's all good. So have you got many plans for like going forward? Things that you want to do?
Well, I think for my business, a big key thing for me at the beginning of the year was my rebrand and relaunch of the website, and then it was building up, not necessarily building up my client base, because I've got a good client base, but the different types of clients that I maybe work with. Again, people that want me as a marketing manager in their business rather than doing little bits of bobs here and there. I like to look at people's marketing, from every angle and write strategies and really get into it and understand it and know it and see results from it. So probably like working with those kind of businesses going forward. I did have a big battle with myself of whether I should become an agency with people that work with me in an office. And I've spoken to quite a few different people that have done that in the past, and they're like, don't do it. It's too stressful. And you've got to, at the end of the day, you've got that commitment then to people that work for you to pay their wages before your own. And I just don't want to have that pressure, because it's not about making loads of money, or
No.
yes, I make money and pay my bills and provide a nice lifestyle for my family, but I'm not about making millions of pounds. I just want to do what I do it well, have a good reputation, and carry on that way and build my business that way. So
you lose you if you get other people doing it for you. Then you lose the aspect of you.
Totally, and I think that's what makes my business a bit different and unique. That I'm not an agency, but I can still give the kind of level of service that you would get from an agency, a higher level of service, because you're not then diluting between different people. You get me, basically. So I did have a battle for a long time with whether I should set up an agency, and I would see other people doing it. I'm like, I can totally do that. I know I can do it. I'm like, but what would I do it for?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be to make more money. It would be for my own sense of satisfaction. But then I can do that through my business and the types of clients I work with, and I can get, satisfaction from that. I don't need to run an agency to do that.
You turn it into a beast. Then it's just going to grow, and it can get out of your control. Because at the moment, you control everything. It's just you. That's probably, you want to keep it that way.
And I like to have a life. So I very much see my business as a lifestyle business, that I can make money that pays my bills, gets my children what they want, nice holidays, a nice car, and as long as I'm going to be comfortable in the future, do you need much more than that? As long as my
stress
family,
into it, wouldn't it? Because then you've got to worry about other people.
I want to be able to pick my little girl up from school. I want to take her in the morning. I want to be able to go to school plays. I don't want to have to think, I can't do that because I've got to see this client, or I've got to take this call, and my family are my priority. So I feel like I can grow my business without it taking over my life.
I think a lot of people will consider that what you've done already is success. You've molded it to work around your life, and you still be able to do well in your business, and not your personal life not suffering because of it. So you've hit that sweet spot.
Yes.
And if you added other people into the equation, that would affect that.
Exactly, yeah. And if I can work with other freelancers, if I can take more work on and give people the work that I don't want to do or that I don't need to do, and I'll focus on the stuff that I'm really good at, then other people can help support me to grow that business and keep it manageable. Because, at the end of the day, you're here to live your life, aren't you? You're not here to work.
No.
Every hour that God sends. You
don't live to work. You work and then you live.
Exactly. So that's my philosophy. So I am, intent on growing my business, but in different ways.
At your pace. You're in control of that.
Yeah, and it's about thinking about how much I charge clients and the type of clients that I work with, and how I can outsource things, so then it frees up my time to do the bigger stuff and to grow the business, to work on the business, rather than just feeling like a bit of a hamster on a wheel that's going round all the time.
Chasing your own tail.
Yeah. And then everything else I'll just let my husband worry about.
Well, there is always that, yeah.
Yeah, he's a financial advisor, so I let him worry about pensions and things like that. Like, I don't really understand that stuff.
Good combination.
Yeah, creative stuff, and he can worry about the money.
Had you ever heard of the word furloughed before all this?
I hadn't, no.
I think they just made it up because they didn't have a...
I think so as well, yeah, definitely.
It might become redundant after all this, and you'll just have to, say, use it for something else. Like, I went out last night and got utterly furloughed. Absolutely furloughed he was.
That works really well, yeah. There'll be a new band, the Furloughs.
Yeah. And have you heard of the term force majeure?
Oh, yes, I've heard of that before.
That's when something like a contract or an agreement gets cancelled because of nature or some disaster, like a virus. So that's the first time I'd ever heard that.
I only know that because when I was writing getting contracts for my business with clients, I didn't want a in-depth, I know it sounds like it's contract, so it's legal, but I didn't want something that was going to bamboozle people. And there was a bit in it said about force majeure, and I was like, what is that? I'm like, oh, it seems a bit heavy. I don't really want that in my contract.
Which is exactly what's happening now.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. I think it might. There's something in there, but I've not needed to fall back on.
It's not. Things like this don't affect your work. The only thing that would affect your work is like if we had like a power shortage.
Yes. Yeah. I'll just have to rely on like 4G or something.
Yeah.
The only thing that sort of has really, obviously now it's a difficult time. When I first started my business, it was a difficult time. When I had my little girl, she was born 10 weeks premature, so that had a massive impact on my business, because I was like, I'm just going to work right up to, she was due on the 29th of December, so I was like, I'm going to work right up to Christmas, and then I'll take Christmas off and I'll see what happens after that.
Right.
But I went into hospital on the 8th of October, so my business, it was.
How did you manage that then? What did you do all the stuff that you needed to do?
So luckily at the time I had a girl that worked with me that was really, she was spot on, and I just had to literally delegate loads to her. And at that time I was organising what was called the Penrith Winter Festival. So it was like the Christmas lights switch on, and the Coca-Cola truck was coming to Penrith, and there was so much going on. And I literally had a midwife came up to me and she's like, you just need to write a list of everything that you need to do and delegate it to somebody else and concentrate on your health. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until afterwards that I appreciated. I nearly died. My baby nearly died. It was very, very touch and go. I didn't really quite appreciate that. I was just in a bit of a bubble.
Yeah.
But I was still, I was transferred over to Middlesbrough Hospital to have her there so she could be in a neonatal unit. And I asked my husband to bring my laptop over so I could do my invoicing while I was in hospital. And I was still doing email. I did put an out of office on, but I was still doing a few emails until I knew the Christmas thing was wrapped up.
Wow.
But yeah, I was still working from a hospital bed. But
that's
actually,
dedication for you.
Yeah, not really appreciating that I could have died, but we're still here to live tell the tale.
You have to make sure your daughter appreciates that when she's old enough to understand that you did that.
Yeah. So, if I can get through 3 months of being in hospital, and be severely poorly and have a premature baby, that she was only £2.5 when she was born.
Wow.
And she was born with sepsis. She was very, very poorly on a ventilator. And to see her grow and build over the weeks, to come home out of hospital, we came out of hospital in the December, and then I pretty much went back to work. Had my first client meeting in the February. So even I'd go to baby groups and stuff, and women were on maternity leave for 9 months, but had a normal birth and everything had gone fine, whereas I'd been in hospital for 3 months, had a premature baby that was still at home, very little, and I was going back out to work because being limited, I didn't get the statutory maternity pay either. So I think if I can get through that, I can get through lockdown.
Definitely. That's incredible.
Yeah. So
she made a full recovery from all that.
She's made a full recovery. She's absolutely amazing. She was very, very small for the first, I would say, 2 years of her life, really tiny. And now she towers above other children. She's got these massive long legs. She's wearing clothes that are too old, above her. And we've just been told that in September we were told that she's gifted, and that she's, at 3, she had a reading age of 8.
Wow. And she's 4?
So, she's 4.
Double her age. Wow.
She's reading the twits at the moment. When I said to her preschool teacher the other day, I was like, I've sort of lost track of where a normal 4-year-old would be with their reading. And she said, if a child could go dog, they would be at their top level in a preschool.
And she's going, exquisite.
Yeah. So when she was born, and this worry that you have, she was having brain scans and scans on her eyes and everything to make sure everything was formed, this worry that you have that, is my child going to be okay, and is she going to have any long-term problems? I was fully prepared for having a child that was disabled, or a child that had cerebral palsy, a child that was dyslexic even. and she is a little miracle. She's really come out of it fighting. So
That's cool.
yeah, I feel very grateful and lucky that we're both still here, and that she's just amazing.
It's like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, exactly. So if we can get through that, I can get through lockdown.
Have you had any other like business hurdles that you've had over the years that you've like had a wobble or anything?
I would say before I started my business, when I worked for the Beatles Museum, I loved the job, but I didn't have a very nice boss. And when I left, my confidence was just at an all-time low. I was like, I can never be a marketing manager. I'm rubbish at what I do. I was totally battered. And I started the new job at the insect zoo, and they really sort of brought me back out of my shell, and they're like, wow, this is amazing, all the ideas I was coming up with and things. This is fantastic. Obviously, it didn't last long because we were made redundant.
That wasn't your fault, though.
No, it wasn't my fault. I think it was happening a long time before I started. And so when I first started my business, I felt like I'd been knocked of my confidence. So having to facing redundancy and starting from scratch and just not knowing about business, that was a massive hurdle of trying to build things up. And obviously when April was born was difficult. Just being a mum generally and running a business is very, very hard, and the juggling that comes with that. And then now lockdown, I think they're probably the three biggest challenges I've faced. But with my old boss, having that, I'm not a very confrontational person. I'm assertive if I need to be, but it was like looking like the way that he used to speak to me was very belittling and just very nasty. But now I feel like I have this different confidence with clients that if I came across a character like him now, I feel like I would be able to stand up to him in a way.
You wouldn't accept that anymore, but you were probably a bit younger and more naive then.
Yeah, and he was he was God. He was telling me what I needed to do, and I wasn't doing it right. And whereas now it's like, well, no, actually, I have 20 years experience. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about, and I can fight my corner. Whereas then I couldn't really, because I was younger and inexperienced. Whereas now, if I came across somebody like him again,
sometimes it's an age thing. You're sort of afraid of older people telling you what to do, and older people don't like young people telling them what to do.
Yeah, and sometimes if I get work experience people, or I've had a few different girls work with me, I always try and say to them don't be worried about asking me questions, or I want you to tell me what's happening in social media. What don't I know about? You need to be telling me. You need to be driving it. You tell me stuff, and let's go forward. And I'm quite open and
that's stuff that you've learned from your experience. You're like, I had that. I'm not going to be like that. And I think all these things that you talked about that were problems are all opportunities to learn something as you go forward.
Definitely.
You should never stop learning. And it's okay to fail. A lot of people who you come across who've got hugely successful businesses, I've seen interviews where they've gone, yeah, but I had 14 failed businesses before this one worked.
Yeah.
So
and you just bounce back and keep going.
Exactly. It all makes you have thicker skin. Yeah.
And I learned that from my first job in marketing was working for a big arts organisation called Walk the Plank in Manchester. They did outdoor theatre and fireworks, and my boss there was the most amazing lady I've ever met, and she taught me so much in marketing. I remember there was something probably really tiny that had gone wrong one day, and I went to see her, and she went, "Has anybody died?" I went, "No." "What are you worried about then?"
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I quite often if anybody makes a typo or something on social media, I'm like, "Has anybody died?"
Yeah,
no,
it's always that example. It's like when there's a car crash and people are panicking. It's like, yeah, but I'm okay. You're okay. It's just a piece of metal. It'll get fixed, but we're okay.
Yeah.
We can't. We're irreplaceable. So just calm down.
Yeah, exactly. So I've learned a lot as I've gone through. career and
Now
life.
you're importing that to other people.
Yeah, now I'm in my 40s. I've got all this knowledge and wisdom.
I've
I
only
can share
got
it.
8 months left of my 40s, so.
How have you? Oh. Well, hopefully we'll be out of lockdown that you can celebrate
Yeah, that'd be
properly,
nice.
as you should when you turn.
I don't really feel any different than I did 10 years ago, though. So.
I know, gosh, you
Not
don't. I
really.
don't feel from when I celebrated my 30th. Yeah, maybe a bit more tired. I would say tired. Like
I think as you get
April is
older,
an
I think you appreciate sleep more.
yes, you definitely do. Yeah,
To be
being a
fair,
mom.
though, I think it's quite important in business, though, because if you're like hydrated and you sleep, I think you function better, you think better, you're going to come up with better ideas, you're going to be more productive. Whereas if you're staying up late and getting up and you're just not sleeping right, you're never going to be
Yeah.
you're never going to do as well as you want.
Yeah, exactly. And like, that was really hard when April was first born, and I was literally getting like 5 hours sleep of a night. And I like my sleep. It's hard work.
Oh yeah.
Whereas now she'll get up at 6:30, but my body sort of got used to that
Yeah.
in a way. And she'll be downstairs screaming, playing, and things. I've got used to it, but I make sure I go to bed early enough. But if there's
It's
one
got to be
night
a
where I don't,
priority. It's got to be. Oh,
yeah,
that article I was reading about iconic successful people, naps. Apparently, naps. They all take naps.
oh
But
yeah, I've
like
heard
even
that.
sometimes 5 to 25 minutes, they just take a power nap, and it allows them
Yeah,
to carry on for an extra like 4 hours into the night. It
yeah.
works
Oh.
apparently. So
Is it, what's the lady? I've forgotten her first name. Her surname's is it Huffington? And she has the Huffington Post.
oh yes, yeah, I know what you mean. I didn't know her first name.
Her Instagram account. It's like Adrienne or Ariana or something like that. She on her Instagram account, it's all about sleep, and I think she's written a book about it as well. And she's like a sleep advocate. It's actually a thing about having naps and stuff. Like I'm not very good at power naps. My
No, I mean,
husband, he can do it. If I sat down on the sofa, I'd be gone for like 2 hours.
yeah,
So I just need to keep going constantly, going
yeah.
all the time. Whereas he's a big believer in naps.
But those people, like all those supplements that you can get to help you sleep, or the vitamins, all of them say on them, but you should also be like just generally hydrated, and you should be getting enough sleep. Otherwise, all this stuff doesn't work as effectively.
Yeah,
I think
so true.
like when you're younger, obviously you just doesn't matter. You just keep on going, but you're still not going to be you're not on the ball as you could be. You just as you get older, you realise how important it is.
Yeah, definitely. Really is.
But anyway, thanks for joining us, Lisa. I've really enjoyed it. It's been really. How long have we done? We've done an hour and a half. Just bang like that, gone.
I know. I do. I can talk a lot.
Well, that's why you're here. That's kind of what we do here.
Yeah,
No, it's been a pleasure. I mean, I've got the website acorn-marketing.co.uk.
That's it. Yeah.
And if anyone, it's Lisa at acorn-marketing.co.uk. That's your number. But I'll put links when the podcast goes out. I'll put links in all the show notes so people can just swipe right on their phone and it'll see all the show notes.
Excellent. That's cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks again for asking me. I really enjoyed it.
I'll probably have you on again someone down the line when you've done some more stuff.
Oh yeah, no worries. You can always come on. I can always talk, like
Of course, yep. And I'll tune in for your thing on Thursday as well.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Marc.
See ya. Bye.